Hello and good greetings to everyone. Welcome to the Mayday Mayhaim Mystery, and I am your host, Mayday Mayhaim. Now, we will be discussing a case that's new but still true to my heart. And we're talking about the missing West brothers, Orson and Orrin West. Now, these boys have been missing since December 21st, 2020. Yes, just a few days before Christmas of last year. And these two boys are still missing to this day. And we are here in September. Now, you may be wondering, what happened? What are you talking about? Like, seriously, like what are you saying? Well, let me share a screen to show you what I'm talking about. Now, excuse me. These are the babies I'm speaking about, Orson and Orrin West. Now, let's start from the beginning. How did we get here? Now, the Orson and Orrin are not even their biological names. Their actual biological names given to them at birth was Classic and Sincere Pettis. Now, you may be wondering, what happened? How did it become from um, them being West to Pettis? This is what happened. Their mother, Miss Pettis, she did have, of course, custody of them until Orrin ended up in the hospital with a broken and twisted femur. Now, she declared that she was at work and it probably was due to the hands of someone else, but not herself. And of course, DCFS came in and took the boys and they placed them with, at this time, foster parents, Jasmine and Trezelle West. Now, Jasmine and Trezelle West, they took the children right after they were put into DCFS, and then they later adopted the children. And that's when they changed their name from Classic and Sincere to Orrin and Orson West. So that's how they became even in Jasmine and Trezelle's hands, period. Now, these children are from Bakersville, California. Okay. Now, they these are little kids. As you can see, their ages are like what, 3 and 4, 2 and 3. They're little babies. We're not talking about no teenagers, no 20, 30. No, these are babies. Like, they can't get around on their own. And we're going to get to that. Now, these babies were allegedly in the backyard playing with chalk when they came up missing from their home in in Cal City, California. They're from Bakersville. That's where all their family and everything is at, from Bakersville. But they came up missing in Cal City, California, a few towns over from Bakersville. Now, they were allegedly in the backyard playing with chalk. Now, I'm a mother of 4. I have 4 daughters, and I actually do have a child that's still chalk playing age. And I can tell you right now, literally from just the past holiday we had, there's still remnants of her chalk marks on the ground. And we're talking at least a week ago. So when children play with chalk, especially on the ground, it stays there for some time unless you intentionally go out there, hose it off, or, you know what I'm saying, and, throw a little detergent out there and it'll wash away or whatever. If you're doing that intentionally, if you don't want to leave their artwork out there. Me personally, it be out there until God wash it away. When Jesus come and wash it away with rain, that's when it leave. Other than that, I don't touch it. That's just me. Can't speak for nobody else. excuse me, because I only speak for myself. Now, allegedly, they were out playing with chalk on the back patio area while the father, Trezell, and they have an interview that's done, and we're going to break down the interview because that interview is fucking epic to me. I'm sorry. That interview is really, really, really epic, and it tells so much in that interview. And I'm pretty sure Bakersfield and Cal City, California police departments and FBI have been over and over the surveillance of that of the video. Now, they were playing in the backyard. Dad was allegedly outside getting firewood, and he left the back gate open. Now, backstory, they've only been in this new house in Cal City, California for only 3 months. Now, when I moved from different areas, and I've had small children, there is no way in hell I would leave my kids outside unattended in an area that I'm not familiar with. Hell, in the areas that I am familiar with, I still ain't leaving my kids unattended outside. I'm just saying, I'm from Chicago. I'm just saying, that's my mentality of thinking. I'm not leaving them alone, period, especially at the ages of 3 and 4 or 2 and 3, very young and vulnerable ages. I would never leave them alone. But that's what happened. Now, excuse me, you may be asking, are there other children around? Jasmine and Trezell actually has other children. They have 2 that are biologically theirs, and they also have 2 that are adoptive children, along with Orson and Orrin West that they adopted in 2020. The adoption had not too long been completed when they moved from Bakersfield to Cal City, California. Now, we are going to look at an interview done by Jasmine and Trezell West, the one and only video that you can find, an interview that they have ever done in conjunction with the missing babies here. Now, this is their story, things that happen. Jasmine, which is mom, was in the kitchen. In the house. I apologize. She was in the house wrapping gifts. Okay. He was outside gathering firewood. Okay. And the boys was in the back yard on the patio area playing with chalk. Now you may ask, okay, Mayday, you just said that they had 4 other children. Where were they? I have an explanation for that. Excuse me. They took the children to grandmother's house. Now, allegedly, these children ages, the oldest was allegedly around 10 years old. And the youngest, of course, would have been the West boys. I'm a mother of 4 yet again. And my mother has taken my children at times and just left me with 1. Do you know how easier it is to watch just 1 out of 4 or 2 out of 6? That's the easiest job in the world. What was the issue with you sitting them down inside of the house, putting a game on for them or putting something on the television for them to watch? While they're watching that, you're in another room wrapping gifts while dad is outside getting firewood. Bam! No children are outside. No children are at risk. Everyone's safe. Everyone healthy. Happy? Good. No. I digress. They didn't do that. They let them go outside, and not to mention, he left the gate open. Now, if any of my viewers out there have smaller children, you do know that when you have smaller children, they don't stray away too easy, especially if they're in an unfamiliar place, which would be their new house in Bakersville. I'm sorry, in Cal City. That would be their new house. They're unfamiliar. They're not going to stray out unless their parents tell them to do so, or they're going with someone because they're so small. They're not doing it. Hell, my 12-year-old still, she stranger danger, and it be her own kinfolk. I'm like, that is not stranger danger. Those are your peoples. You see them every day, but you playing a game right now. But my house is crazy like that. However, in this situation, these are two small children that cannot get out. They cannot ride bikes. They cannot just walk off. They can't do any of this. They're little. They're little. So as he's supposed to be gathering firewood, he says he walks past the boys while they're playing with chalk. He walks past them, and they're right there in the house. And then he comes back and they're gone. Kids don't disappear like that. I know you. Look, don't get it twisted. I have my conspiracy theories too, but it's this situation. Kids don't disappear like that. Now, like I said, we're going to get to that interview, which is telling. And of course, I'm going to stop it and go because I don't want YouTube on my ass. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to stop and go. But we're going to continue with their story. Now, I said, you may be asking, well, where were the other 4 children at? They went to their alleged grandmother's house for a vacation. In America here, December 21st is vacation because that's 4 days before what holiday, which is celebrated not here in America, but around the world. Christmas. December 21st. Well, hell, December 25th is only 3-4 days away. If you took them 4, why wouldn't you leave the other 2 there? And then if you did leave the other 2 with you, it should have been more easier for you to watch them. I just can't get that out my mind with me being a parent of multiple children. How much easier it would be if they're gone, if a couple of them are gone for a couple of days and I'm only left with 1 or 2 of them, but I digress. Excuse me. Now, allegedly, he came outside and he noticed the boys was gone. He looked around the area for them, and then he got in his car, drove to the end of the block, yelling for them, and they weren't found. And then he allegedly called 911. Of course, Cal City Police Department arrived, and they, of course, started processing the scene and trying to figure out where the boys have been. Even brought out search dogs. And the search dogs never even picked the scent up from outside of the house. Let's say, of course, knock on wood, no one wants to come up missing or they have their children come up missing. I've had that happen, and it's not a fun thing when a child comes up missing. But when they do bring out search dogs and all this, that, and the third, it will literally pinpoint them from your house to the gas station, to the school, and track you in, out, around, all by the garbage cans. It will track this animal will track your whole perimeter. If you farted, this animal will pick it up and say they farted 6 blocks down to the east and 4 blocks to the west. That's where they are. And you be going, how the fuck this dog schnauzer is that's just that good? How? Because that's what they're trained to do. They're trained to search out for scents and pick up people. Now, however, they only picked up the boy's scent inside of the house. They didn't even pick up their scent walking around the neighborhood or even my children play outside down to the next neighbor's door and the scent stops. None of that. So that lets me know, and one or two things. These kids they was in that house, but they never left the property. They were never outside like that. which is common for younger children that are especially 2 and 3 years old. My kids, we was brought up like you ain't going to no store or nothing like that unless you can say you can go to the bathroom, you know. But if you don't have that option, of course you take your children with you. Now, allegedly, well, not allegedly, this is actually true. We live in a very modern age right now. We live in a very, very modern age. Everyone has some type of security, surveillance around them of some sort. Everyone does. You don't know what type of security systems your neighbors may be having. And in this case, this is what has happened. Neighbors had security cameras that, it watches their driveway, but you can also see the neighboring house, which happens to be the West home. Now, he says that he looked around the property and this, that, and the third. And yeah, he was outside a little bit around the property, but not the way he said he was. The surveillance tape even shows him getting inside of their van through the passenger side. Now, don't get me wrong. I done had some broke ass vehicles in my days where I had to get in on the passenger side. But if it's nothing wrong with your driver's side, then why wouldn't you get in the driver's side and then drive off, look around? That makes more sense because I'm in the middle of the street. I can look both ways. I can maybe even see some little feet prints. You know what I'm saying? If you had just left them. So that was kind of a little wonky. Then, not to mention, they said that they went Christmas shopping December 19th. This is a very critical day. Now, they said that they put all the kids in the car and went Christmas shopping. Like I said, the neighbors has surveillance cameras. The surveillance cameras show that, yeah, they went out that day. They went outside, and they also showed they were supposedly dropping the kids off or whatever at grandma's house. They showed that these people, 2 adults and only 4 children, got into the car. Now, I know you could easily be saying, well, Mayday, if they 2 and 3 years old, maybe they were carried, or maybe one of the older children were big enough or old enough to carry them. Okay, I give you that. However, when they came back, they had no children in their hands. No one picked up a child out of the car. You didn't see any little feet getting out of the car on their own, or anyone grasping a child to pick them up to put them down on the ground to walk. You saw none of that. You only saw Jasmine and Trezelle come home on their own. You never saw any other children with them. So if you went and took the kids out, well, then we should see you with other kids coming in. You should have left with 6 children and came back with 2. But the surveillance showed that it was 6 people and only 2 came back versus 8 people and 4 coming back. Do you see the indiscrepancies there? But the neighbor's camera does show that. So that punches holes in their stories. But these 2 babies that's on the screen that's missing. We're now finna listen to Trezelle and Jasmine West actually, in their own words, tell what happened. And we're also going to, as they're telling what happened, we're going to stop and start and talk about what's going on. Okay? So without further ado, let me share that screen of their conversation with camera, with media. Okay. Make sure it's on the, yep, we got it on here. Now, we're going ahead and press play. And we're going to listen. Like I said, I'm going to stop periodically. But just take a listen.
everyone in the community for all the support we've seen. We've felt so helpless, and seeing everybody out here really look.
Give it a second, y'all.
Grow your QuickBooks skills.
We're not doing any. We're not doing that.
QuickBooks courses. Up-to-date QuickBooks courses taught by industry experts.
No. We ain't doing no commercials or nothing like that. No. Oh, he said don't play the commercial, huh? Let's go and look at this.
With hands-on and in.
Okay.
Helping out really means a lot. So, tell us what happened the night the kids were missing. From our yard.
It was cold.
Pause. The first thing you hear him say is, it was cold. It was cold. Let me share the screen with you. And you're going to see his mannerisms and how he just starts off, it was cold. Let me rewind it just a smidget. There we go.
Means a lot.
Now watch.
So, tell us what happened the night the kids were missing. From our yard.
Do you hear him say, okay? Okay. I don't know what's going on with the internet. This is wild. StreamYard is acting up. So that's the only part of it. Like I said, I would strongly suggest y'all go watch that video. Go watch it. Because there's even parts, and you see how his hands was for that little snippet of him standing there. He stands like that the entire time. The entire time he stands there, just like that, the entire time. And as he starts off, he said, okay. Like he's trying to get his story together. There's even one part of the interview where he says, yeah, I went in and I came out and that's what happened. This is what had happened. What is this? What is that? What are you talking about? Let's see if we can try to play it one more time. If it will allow me to share.
It was cold. I was going to make a fire. So a lot of wood in this area right here next to our house. I opened up that gate. I'm throwing wood, bringing it inside the house. My wife's inside. She was actually wrapping gifts, so we thought it was a good idea that our youngest two go outside and play with chalk on the back patio.
Look how she's rocking back and forward, back and forward, back and forward.
I let them go on the dirt in the backyard and keep them close. So I was playing with chalk. I came to the house. I saw them there. I went in the house. I came back out. I didn't see them there. I immediately went back in, asked my wife, did you see the boys? She said, no, they should be outside playing with chalk. I said, well, I didn't see them, so I came back outside and I started searching my backyard. I searched the whole thing. I realized I left the gate open and I panicked, came inside the house, searched the house, me and my wife.
Y'all see how many times he mentioned me and my wife, me and my wife, me and my wife, me and my wife. We searched. And you see how she's looking off into the distance, which is actually she's looking to the side because that's where their home is, to that side. But as you see that she's looking off, as he's talking like, it's not, I'm not gonna confirm this shit. Like, this is, they know what happened. They know exactly what happened to these children. And it's even been come to some conclusion that the kids never left Bakersville because they wasn't picked up in Cal City. So as of now, Cal City does not have this case. They have switched the case over to Bakersville. And since all this shit has happened, they literally moved like within days of the boys coming up missing. Now, you just moved there 3 months ago. How in the fuck you go back to Bakersville that quick? But I digress. Let's take another listen.
Once that hadn't panned out, I got in the van. I looked down the street, both directions. It was getting dark, getting cold. And I got in the van and I hit a bunch of corners. I went down this street. I turned my light on. I searched. I called their names. Talked to a gentleman on the street on the other side over there. He didn't see me. So then I came home and I told my wife we need to call the cops. It's getting dark and I need help. We got to get going. So I called the cops. Cops came. First thing they did was tell us to stay in the house so they can get a hold of us. And they had us just.
Now, y'all see that shit, right? Y'all see that shit. Y'all see that shit. He ain't moved his hands. And she's rocking back and forth. Only thing that she's okay into is, yeah, we did call the police. That's about the only thing you got right. You did call the police. But, like I said, I digress. Like, please, I strongly suggest everyone watch this video. Watch the rest of it. Just go watch the rest of that. Watch the rest of it. And you go to the conclusion yourself of what the fuck it really is. I'm going to place it in the description below. Go watch the adoptive parents video. Go watch it. And that interview. You're even going to see some of the biological parent, the moms, people having something to say in this exact video, where they're pretty much saying you were supposed to watch the children and you didn't do your job. And Jasmine has a very arrogance about herself as to, this is why the family, this is why. What do you mean this is why? You adopted these kids and you were left in charge of these children, and these kids all of a sudden came up missing in your care. And no one is supposed to be upset about it. And he's very condescending, very nonchalant. So I strongly suggest everyone to go watch that interview of Jasmine and Trezell West on the missing children Orson West. No matter how you type it up, put it in, it's going to come up. So just take a look at it and look at it for yourself, because they on some shit. I ain't gonna lie. They on that bullshit. They on that ish. They on that ish. They on that ish today. So thank you for coming in and rocking out with me for a bit. We'll be back next time for another Mayday Mayhem mystery. And this is a mystery because we do want these children found. You know, not just, oh, where are they? Where have they been? You know, that's just like a very big case we have here in Chicago. The Bradley sisters, they've been missing for over 20 years. They came up missing on the south side of Chicago. So, but you know, it's they can be found alive. You know what I'm saying? Look at the Amanda Berry. And they were missing for years and they were literally found alive. So these boys could very well be alive somewhere, and someone not realizing that these kids are missing or that these kids don't belong to whomever they're with. but it still is a mystery in itself. Like, what happened to these kids? Where are they? And it's almost been a year. Both of them have had birthdays passed. It's been a year. Where are these children? And also in the indiscretion with Trezell and Jasmine West's other children, they've all been taken from them. They have taken their children. They all have been placed in DCFS. Their adoptive 2 children they had and their biological 2 children they have both been placed in DCFS. So now 4 more children are in the system due to the negligence of these 2 parents. But we don't know what happened. Until we find these boys, that's the only way we'll find out what happened. So again, thank you for coming in, riding out with me. I will be more on here more frequently now. My schedule has loosened up. And we're going to have more conversations like this, more story times, and just more informational broadcast. So again, thank you again for riding out with me. And I'm going to leave this broadcast the way I'm going to leave all my broadcasts. If no one loved you, no one told you they love you, I do. I truly, truly do. And do better today than you did yesterday, and strive for a better tomorrow today. And, and take your babies and love them and hug them. It's a crazy world, crazy times we're living in. So make sure you know and let your children know that they are loved and that you love them, and kiss them and hug them. Okay? Everyone have a great day, and we'll be back to you next time.